Everywhere. Welcome to tonight's discussion of Black Feminist Thought, Chapter 2, Part 2. My name is Morgan. I'm a member of the Syllabi Cohort. I hope everyone is able to join us tonight. Dr. Nicole Carter facilitated the two of the previous discussions on Black Feminist Thought, Chapter 1, Part 2, and Chapter 2, Part 1. So I definitely suggest watching those if you didn't tune in live. She had really great discussions. Like I said, let me make sure we are everywhere we need to be. Okay, we are live on YouTube as well. And I'm pretty sure yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. So I want to just do like a brief recap of kind of what we covered so far, just to kind of make sure everyone is on, the same page. And like I said a few minutes ago, Dr. Nicole Carter discussed Chapter 1, Part 2, and Chapter 2, Part 1. And she went over specifically in Chapter 2, she covered why U.S. Black Feminist Thought, diverse responses to common challenges with Black feminism, Black feminist practice, and Black feminist thought, and that's it. So tonight I'll be going over dialogical practices and Black women intellectuals through the end of the chapter, which is, the last section is U.S. Black feminism and other social justice projects. If you haven't purchased the syllabi for Black Feminist Thought, I think that would be extremely helpful to do so. Not sure if everyone knows yet, but on the 22nd, Dr. Patricia Hill Collins will be joining the book club for a live chat, a live Q&A. That's on the 22nd, and I'm not sure of the time, but I'll figure that out before this ends, and I'll let everyone know. And it's also posted on the website in the events tab and in the Facebook group. So definitely send your questions in, participate, get ready for that, because I'm super excited for it, and it'll be really great to hear, a discussion from the author. So yeah, that's on July 22nd. And yeah, so let's just recap Chapter 2. So Chapter 2, I'm going to go off the syllabus. So again, go ahead and purchase that from the website if you haven't already. So Chapter 2 is called Distinguishing Features of Black Feminist Thought. So overall, Chapter 2 is talking about how U.S. Black Feminist Thought encompasses this a lot of diverse meanings, essentially. It covers a lot of things. Sometimes the different theories and practices that come from it seem to be a bit contradictory, but all in all, it's rooted in the same things. So the first section, why U.S. Black Feminist Thought, we're just talking about why U.S. Black Feminist Thought remains such an important ideology, not theology, ideology, because Black women have remained an oppressed group. It's always relevant. It's growing and it's changing, but it has yet to lose relevancy because the state of Black women has remained what it is. And then we move into diverse responses to common challenges within Black feminism. And in this section, Dr. Collins is discussing the different tensions that link similarities of Black women's experiences and ideas. And then she begins to talk about those distinguishing features of Black feminist thought. And let me see, in the syllabus we have that regardless of the fact that many Black women face common challenges, particularly as it relates to their position within American society, there are diverse responses to these challenges. So again, Black feminist thought is not one thing. It's not one set of ideas. Black feminist thought takes on several different iterations. Black women on this side of America in this neighborhood have this interpretation of it. And same for the women over here. Regionally, Black feminist thought may look different because concerns are different, values are different. But at the core, Black women are responding to a lot of the same issues and concerns. After that section, we have, hello, welcome, Black Feminist Practice and Black Feminist Thought. That's the third distinguishing feature. Let me slow down. Of Black Feminist Thought. And this feature is about the connections between U.S. Black women's experiences as a heterogeneous collectivity. Then we can check over those. I think Dr. Carter did a great job. But yeah, that was just to kind of go over what Dr. Carter talked about. So into tonight's discussions, dialogical practices and Black women intellectuals. So again, I'm going to be reading a lot of the questions and discussion points from the syllabus on Black Feminist Thought. There are two available. One for our previous read on this, where we read chapter 11 and 12, and now chapters 1 and 2. So, of course, this is the syllabus for chapter 1 and 2, but I believe they're both on sale. Okay, so the fourth distinguishing feature of Black feminist thought focuses on the contributions made to the field of thought by Black women intellectuals. These Black women intellectuals are products of different social classes, educational backgrounds with varying ages and occupations, but they all must ensure that they're asking the right questions and properly interrogating the dimensions of Black women's lived experiences in the U.S. while acknowledging said differences. So that's a summary of the section. So I think that point about properly interrogating the dimensions of Black women's lived experiences in the U.S. while acknowledging said differences is really what can guide some of our conversation on this section. So specifically, the questions in this section: what is lost when Black women who are outside of the realm of academia are not included in the knowledge production efforts and in the work that is fueling Black feminist thought and activism? We're on dialogical practices and Black women intellectuals, which starts the second half of chapter 2. So I think, we've been talking about this. We talked about it with our last read on hood feminism, right? And with Mickey Kendall being very specific about who hood feminism is for and what it's about and where it comes from. There are a lot of women who are left out of the common conversations, the standard discussions around Black feminism and Black feminist thought. This book itself, I'm sure people would say is extreme. It's a bit of an unattainable kind of out there read for some people. I don't think that a Black woman who may not, have been exposed to academia or college educated in any way probably is not going to pick up Dr. Patricia Hill Collins. Hood feminism, on the other hand, is definitely more accessible. So, but then again, that begs the question: what are we losing when we aren't including the narratives and the stories and the input of Black women outside the margins? The Black women who didn't go to the top university, who didn't go to university at all, and what is lost by that? Like, when we aren't centering them and when we aren't including them in these discussions and in these activism spaces, but we're trying to advocate for them, we're really just doing a disservice. So I guess it would be better to frame it around: what do we gain by becoming more intentional about including them? When the everyday Black woman is excluded, being able to accurately articulate and address the oppressions and issues that face their life. Therefore, the solutions will not be adequate enough, right? Because we're going off of what we think we know, what we've seen on TV. We often try to make decisions in these spaces based on statistics and based on articles that we read, instead of hearing it from the source. like you say, the everyday Black woman can let us know, and will let us know exactly what it is that she needs. She doesn't need to be reduced to a stereotype or a statistic where we conclude what it is that she needs and what Black feminism should offer her. Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus questions. What cities and communities of study are important to focus on when seeking to gather a full range of understanding of the Black feminist movement? So I think something that's important to remember is that queer Black women are often the ones who, you know, have given us a lot of the, I would say, rhetoric, or a lot of the knowledge that we have, who provided the foundation for Black feminist thought. So we would be remiss to not continue to prioritize queer Black women's efforts in Black feminism, Black feminist thought. You know, Combahee River Collective, what's her name? Jesus, forgive me. Audre Lorde. All these different, you know, Black women who we look to as Black feminist leaders were queer Black women, and that is such a crucial part of who they are and what their work was about. So it would be extremely, extremely irresponsible to neglect Black queer women in 2020 and beyond. So what is understood? Okay, so this next quote, queer Black women started Black Lives Matter. Yeah. And even like with that, thanks for, they're often like, they're forgotten in that, you know, Black Lives Matter has in a lot of ways, I would say social movement that kind of developed from it has erased them. You know, there are definitely people who know them, but I don't feel like they're largely known, you know. Everyone is an abolitionist now. I'm here for it. Everyone is moving towards abolition, but like you said, it's queer Black women who have been advocating for prison abolition for decades. It's queer Black women who have been giving us the language to, you know, answer the questions on, okay, so what do we do in this case? Are we really sure we want abolition? And what about in this case? It's these women who are saying, look, this is the blueprint. This is what you need to do. So, yeah. This quote that I'm going to read in this question is on page 35 in the book, but page 17 in the syllabus. And the question says, while it is understood that, quote, Black women intellectuals are central to Black feminist thought, what is the benefit of centering Black domestic workers and other Black women outside of academia as a central element of Black feminist thought? So yeah, we're kind of like, it's kind of repeating ourselves. We're repeating ourselves at this point. But I think, especially in this current climate, you know, this pandemic and all of these essential workers, you know, a lot of people like pointing out that Breonna Taylor was an essential worker with her being an EMT. You know, Breonna was essential, all those different things. So what does it look like to truly center these Black women who are domestic workers and, you know, as right now, essential workers? My glasses are giving a glare. I cannot see. Okay. He said one of the things that you've been trying to center is your advocacy, and your advocacy is Black trans women. Yeah. Yeah, there was like a week in I think June. Yeah, a week in June where there was a Black trans woman or girl killed every single day. It was just back to back to back. And centering Black trans women in our politics is really how, in our politics, in our activism, in our advocacy, in every element of what we're doing is how we will truly propel these conversations forward and get to whatever our end goal may be. Yeah, conversations about Black, queer, and trans lives is definitely seen as a separate from Black Lives Matter. It's sad because a lot of the conversation often reroutes to, can we just talk about Black lives right now? And it's like that we are, they are, and it's almost forced upon you to put Black women and Black queer concerns and Black trans women and all those concerns to the side, or have your separate protest, but don't take away from BLM. That's that rhetoric and that's pushed. Collins talks about the matrix of domination and the intersection of Black women's experiences, and this is where essential workers are. They're at the intersections of race, gender, and class. Bingo. And it's just so, I think what I appreciate is that a lot of our reads are so timely. Like, of course, Black feminist thought is always going to be relevant again, which, what this chapter starts off with is that the relevancy of Black feminist thought is because Black women's issues are always relevant. So I think, but just reading it right now, where we're seeing all this essential worker, hero, propaganda on the news, while they are literally just not taken care of, not respected, not cared for, underpaid, overworked. It's like, look, same, different day. Centering people outside of academia brings an outside-inside perspective to issues and their subsequent solutions. Movement. If the average Black women can see the benefits of the tenets of the Black feminist movement, there will be more buy-in. Therefore, the movement. Interesting. Okay. And I think that's a really good point, because feminism is seen as that thing your daughter learns when she goes off to college that makes her come back home acting crazy. It hasn't been for the everyday woman that's really who needs it. Just the everyday average Black woman. So yeah, that's super important. All these reads are so timely. Who would have thought when we started Black Feminist Thought we'd be at this moment in history? I feel re-radicalized, right? It's really amazing just to see how much more, even just rereading some text, how much more I'm learning from the first time I read it. When I first read Black Feminist Thought, I think I was a first year student in college, so I was just like, ooh, okay, drag me, Dr. Collins. And now it's sad. It's sad because you can kind of look back and remember certain things that were happening then, and then looking in this present moment and just seeing how everything is playing out. It almost seems, if you didn't follow history, and if you didn't know how that history just repeats itself, it would seem prophetic, because everything that she has written is just repeating itself and it's playing out in real time. So I think, to kind of sum up this section, some of the biggest takeaways would be, one, this quote on page 33, where she wrote that, quote, very different kinds of thought and theories emerge when abstract thought is joined with pragmatic action. Deny positions as scholars and writers, which allow us to emphasize purely theoretical concerns. The work of most Black women intellectuals has been influenced by the merger of action and theory. The activities of 19th century educated Black women intellectuals, such as, and then from there, our experiences as African-American women provide us with a unique angle of vision concerning Black womanhood unavailable to other groups, should we choose to embrace it. It is more likely for Black women, as members of an oppressed group, to have critical insights into the condition of our oppression than it is for those who live outside those structures. So that's another thing. I think I don't know how, but I think it's important that we begin to make Black feminism more accessible and not a university academia exclusive club, because, let me gather my thought. What am I trying to say? It's just, Black women don't need to go to university They don't need to enroll in school to be able to have hot takes on the issues that affect their lives. You know, it's the, as they like to see on Twitter, it's the hood Black girl, you know. They, you know, we homogenize Black experiences, especially lower income Black experiences, but it's Black women who are generally in these positions that are, you know, like socially outcasted, who have the most to say and who are offering the things that we need to hear in Black feminism. Because frankly, if we are only having these conversations in academia, we're just going to be repeating ourselves, because the higher up you go in academia, you know, you're obtaining these class privileges and you're rubbing elbows and shoulders with the right people. And, you know, you're definitely a Black woman through and through, but you aren't tapping in to who your work is supposed to be for. So that you mean that feminism is a thing. I'm sorry, hold on. I'm catching up on your comments. Let me see, because okay. You said you've been watching All of Us while you do work and watch it as an adult, basically. By that I mean it. Okay. And then you say, one of the points that made you think of the concept of, quote, individuals becoming traitors to their privileges, and how hard that concept is to be into action. Third paragraph on page 37. Let me see. I'm scrolling. Okay. Very often, however, engaging in this type of coalition and vision here requires that individuals become traitors to the privileges that their race, class, gender, sexuality, or citizenship status provide them. For example, in Memoir of a Race Traitor, Mab Segrist writes of how coming to terms with her lesbian identity spurred her recognition of how her whiteness gave her unearned privileges. No one wants to give up their privileges, but we have to give up or use their privileges for the marginalized for us to make some progress. Yeah, that's been a lot of these conversations have been coming up online. You know, people are grappling with the fact that their privilege doesn't, well, grappling with what privilege means. I think, and which I've kind of gotten out of trying to water down definitions and meanings of things to help people understand them, because people are sometimes willfully obtuse and they just don't want to hear harsh realities. But privilege is not, you know, it's easier to understand privilege as those things that you don't have to worry about. You know, that doesn't negate the areas where you suffer and are oppressed, but you just aren't oppressed and suffering because of this set of things. Simple to understand. People are just dense. Such a solid quote. It's interesting information, because I think so much of the time we're stuck at recognizing privilege. Yeah, it's like, yeah, our beautiful, our sweet allies, you know, sweet allies. They're always tweeting about how they recognize their privilege, and I'm like, okay. And so then what? So now where do we go? Thank you for recognizing it? Question mark? Okay, let's keep going. Next section. Black feminism as dynamic and changing. So the fifth distinguishing feature of U.S. Black feminist thought is concerned with the significance of change. Black feminist thought and practice must not be resistant to change, while it also maintains the values its values as the center of the ideology. As social conditions change and Black women's experiences in America are reimagined, their relationships with one another and the world around them constitute a movement that is dynamic and responsive. The changing social conditions that confront African American women stimulate the need for new Black feminist analyses on the common differences that characterize U.S. Black womanhood. That quote on page 40. That being said, it is also necessary that the leaders and prominent faces of Black feminism are just as dynamic as the movement and ideology. Who are the faces of Black feminism right now? Ooh, interesting question. Interesting. I don't know if I don't. Miss Kendall? Miss Kendall, maybe? Yeah, hood feminism, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know who I would cite as like a modern day Black feminist leader. I could probably point out some people. I'm just drawing blanks right now. But this section, which is kind of what we were talking about before, is how Black feminism, like, it has to continue to change because it has to be responsive at all times to the issues that Black women are dealing with, which is why Black feminism cannot remain concentrated in academic spaces, because, you know, we'll just be regurgitating the same language and just, you know, isms and nosms and all these different things, and just throwing big words around and theorizing the lives of people who are not having these conversations with us. So let's go through the questions. What changes in Black women's social status and American experience have prompted a shift in the Black feminist movement? Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. What changes in Black women's social status and American experience have prompted a shift in the Black feminist movement? Also, the questions are in the syllabus. I'm not sure if you heard me before, but the syllabus is, I believe it's on sale. I need to check, so hopefully I'm not saying the wrong thing over and over, but the syllabus is on the site and the questions are in the syllabus. This specific questions on page 18. There are some great articles floating around about the girl boss. The girl boss, yeah. I think the face of the, you know, I don't know what white women do, like what they are, how white women are girl bossing. Yeah, no problem. But the Black girl boss is such a mind warp. It's like, girl, you're a scammer, and I don't like that. But, you know, definitely, while they might not say it explicitly, I think some of them they like to post like little cute quotes that have the word feminist in it. But they don't know what feminism is, like, especially Black feminism. There is not, like, what's their, I'm not gonna call people's names on here, but, you know, like our bundle queens and all that, like the girls who sell the bundles and the lashes, and they hold the girl boss conferences. They are, in a lot of ways, I think, let me watch my words. Black feminism has to be dynamic and changing, and it has to respond to issues like that as well. The girl boss is I would say a dangerous figure. She's harmful to she's harmful. She can be very harmful, very harmful. Black women are becoming more educated and financially independent with more job opportunities. As a result, they are alleviating in class. Okay. How does Rosa Wakefield's quote speak to the larger issues addressed within Black feminist thought? And the quote is, quote, "If you eat these dinners and don't cook them. Well, if you eat these dinners and don't cook them, if you wear these clothes and don't buy or iron them, then you might start thinking that the good fairy or some spirit did all that. Black folks don't have no time to be thinking like that. But when you don't have anything else to do, you can think like that. It's bad for your mind, though. The empowerment girls are steeped in capitalism, and it really is doing line up with the tenets of Black. Yeah. Thank you, because I was. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just a capitalist fever dream. So yeah, who wants to be a millionaire? Everyone's gonna be a millionaire. Just buy these bundles and resell them. Buy them from me. Cause girl power, sisterhood, and you can't just throw around words like that, especially when you are a capitalist queen. Like, you cannot throw around words like feminism. Yeah, I feel you. Feminism and sisterhood, and words that are so important to the Black feminist movement and Black feminist theory. Girl, you can't just be. Girl bosses are just asking to be boy bosses. Not sure how else to think of girl boss. Yeah, like, why do you have to say you're a girl boss? Just be a boss, I guess. That's not my fight. So yeah, I'm gonna pose this question again. How does the Wakefield quote speak to the larger issues addressed within Black feminist thought? And the quote is on page 39 in the book. Excuse me. And Rosa was an elderly domestic worker, for more context. I'll still be looking at the comments, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. So the big takeaways from this chapter are, the first quote, African American women as a group may have experiences that provide us with a unique angle of vision, but expressing a collective, self-defined Black feminist consciousness is problematic, precisely because dominant groups have a vested interest in suppressing such thought. And two, quote, an oppressed group's experience may put its members in a position to see things differently, but their lack of control over the ideological apparatuses of society makes expressing a self-defined standpoint more difficult. I'm trying to figure out like who's saying what. Okay. U.S. Black feminism and other social justice projects. Boom, here we go. Ms. Rose's quote highlights that Black women need to define their own views and standpoints, or they will be defined by the dominated groups in society. There you go. Thank you, Alana. U.S. Black feminism and other social justice projects. So this is the final distinguishing feature of Black feminism that Dr. Collins lays out in part of the syllabus. It says that this feature is in regards to its relationship with other social justice, Black feminism's relationship with other social justice projects. And it speaks about how Black women intellectuals are continually expounding upon the range of thought on African American women's experiences. And here she brings in Alice Walker's preference for the term womanist as a response to, quote, the notion of the solidarity of humanity. And then she brings up Alice Walker, Pauli Murray, and some other Black intellectuals who have really given us these groundbreaking pieces on Black feminist ideology. And as a result, these women appeal to different audiences. There's something for everyone. But what's interesting is that these books, these reads that they give us are still very much so concentrated to an upper class. I would say, just personally, Alice Walker is one of the only women who I would say has like attainable, accessible Black feminist writings. And I don't even, like, I remember reading her in middle and high school, but I don't know if, I know for a fact that it wasn't presented to me as Black feminist literature, which is Black literature, you know? Yeah, all in all, that these women have a commitment to Black women's empowerment, regardless of what their personal methodology might be. So whether it's, you know, saying, hey, let's say that we're womanists, instead of saying that we're Black feminists, or whatever their take was, they all had this commitment to uplifting Black women and giving Black women this platform to voice their grievances, their issues, and really have a community behind it. Lana says, the last paragraph of this section was also a read on visible Black women when she said, quote, blinded by their self-proclaimed Black feminist dia aspirations. They feel like they own no one, especially other Black women. Instead, they become trapped within their own impoverished Black feminist universe. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, you know, I caught some shade. I feel like it's when I was reading about womanism, when she was speaking about her take on womanism. I was like, I don't think she too much likes that. Yeah, so page 42, Alice Walker, it says, quote, Alice Walker's preference for the term womanist addresses this notion of the solidarity of humanity. Quote, womanist is to feminist as purple is to lavender, she writes. To Walker, one is womanist when one is, quote, committed to the survival and wholeness of entire people, male and female. A womanist is not, quote, a separatist, a separatist except periodically for help, and is traditionally universalist. As is, Mama, why are we brown, pink, and yellow, and our cousins are white, beige, and black? Answer, well, you know, the colored race is just like a flower garden with every color flower represented. By redefining all people as people of color, Walker universalizes what are typically seen as individual struggles while simultaneously allowing space for autonomous movements of self-determination. How y'all... I think the conversation between like womanists versus Black feminists is always interesting to me. I'm interested to know what you all think on that topic. But I'm gonna head back to the syllabus and throw some questions out there. So, okay, yeah. So the first question is about womanism, specifically what Collins wrote, and we say, the question is, Collins mentions Alice Walker's preference for the term womanist. In recent years, many Black women have taken on this title instead of identifying as a Black feminist. Do you see a true difference in the terms? Is it necessary? And how do you identify? Honestly, I still have no idea the difference between Black feminist and womanist. Yeah, you know, sometimes I can't say that I can fully articulate it, because I know for so long that when I was inquiring about the difference, all I heard was, girl, Black feminist is to womanist as purple is to lavender. It's just like, what does that mean? She wrote that. I know that. But what does that mean? So I don't know how to properly articulate it, but I would definitely say it's a matter of preference. Just if you go on just based on what Collins said, it sounds like she's saying that Alice Walker is a little more like we are the world. We're all gods, creatures, you know, very there's one race, the human race. That's kind of how it's presented there. A big change is that feminism, privilege, etc. are now in mainstream discussions outside of academia. Yeah. I feel that there are a lot of empowered girls who feel they are doing enough, but now I feel like all these people are trying to figure out what to do with their privilege. People find they're like, yeah, that's a good point. It's true. Yeah, it's like, what is that? Black feminist is to womanist, as purple is to lavender. Okay, as blue is to teal. As green is to lime. Break it down. Tell me, what does it mean? Like, what are the crucial differences where there are Black women who are like, who have a very strong aversion to being called a Black feminist, and there are the Black women who are like, I'm not a womanist. I see more Black women who will take up an issue with the Black feminist term. A lot of Black women that I've seen don't really have an issue with womanism. You know, the argument though is that I'm not a Black feminist because Black feminism is a response to white feminism or something like that. But yeah, I've yet to see anyone really break down the term and like break it down in like layman's terms and be like, look, this is what it means. These are the differences. But I think that's the point of this chapter, is that Collins is saying that like there really aren't a lot of differences. It's kind of like, do you want, you know, orange juice, apple juice? Like, yes, it's different. It's a matter of preference. But at the end of the day, you're gonna drink it. You're not gonna be thirsty. So she's saying that once, no matter who you decide to follow, no matter what you call yourself, the point is that there are so many Black women intellectuals who are creating words and who are creating these different terms and coining these different terms and concepts. There's something for everybody that's going to make sure we all get to the end goal. Okay. Can't forget this point. Next question. What is lost by Alice Walker, redefining all people as people of color and universalizing experiences that are generally understood as individual struggles? Yeah, see, this would be a good question to drop in for the live Q&A on July 22nd. Shameless plug. I think, that'll be. Was there like Black feminist drama? You know how like W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington was beefing? Was there like Black feminist drama? Or did they keep it on the low? Because like, would that be like antithetical to Black feminism? Because that'd be interesting. Especially if it was over like, she said she was a womanist after I released my article on being Black feminist. I'm rambling. I'm not gonna pull up the article while we on the live, but I would definitely look at it when we log off. Thank you for sharing that. What's in the name? Really? What's the T? What's the Black? I feel like I've read about some, but it's hard for me to cite. I don't know. I just know the men folks was real messy. Yeah, now Miss Alice was in everybody's business. She was. Yeah, I see. Personally, I have beef with bell hooks sometimes because I'm just like, girl, why? What do you mean? But I think what's crazy is that recently I started to kind of like begrudgingly feel Miss Hooks a little bit more than I did before. I have access to it. If someone has school access to it. Oh, the article? Okay. Yeah, if I can get into it or find it somewhere else, I will share it in the Facebook group. For sure. For sure. I'll use somebody's login and I'll get it if no one else is able to. But yeah, what are we losing? I mean, I think we kind of know, but like let's talk about how just counterproductive and like pointless it is for Alice Walker to redefine us as, we're all people of color. Life is just a garden and we're all flowers. Okay, on page 43, Black Feminist Thought reads, quote, in the context of intersecting oppressions, Black feminism requires searching for justice, not only for U.S. Black women, but for everyone. Do you agree with the idea that Black women's fight for justice and equality must include everyone? If yes, why? If not, why not? And is this statement different from the Combahee River Collective statement that, quote, liberation of all oppressed peoples necessitates the destruction of the political and economic systems of capitalism and imperialism as well as patriarchy? Okay. I'm glad we're reading Mel. It's because I think she has a way of romanticizing certain notions that I sometimes just okay. And I think that there are unique challenges to the Black women's experience. Intersectionality is not adequately addressed when we say people of color. No one is free until everyone is free, but we still have efficiently addressed the different issues the persons of each are marginalized group. Yeah, it's very idealistic, and so just a romanticization. You have to ignore a lot in order to truly believe that we are the world, we are the children. You have to look past a lot of stuff. And I think it was a Twitter thread or something that I was reading that was saying that if we center our activism around protecting Black trans women, that is ultimately what will open up the door for our liberation. Because in order to, provide Black trans women with the full realm of protections that they need and deserve, we have to be abolitionists, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist. It's this, like, it's just really focusing on Black trans women requires us to facilitate a full dismantling of like everything. Okay, I read that one. Okay. Okay, in the context of the new term by PLC really annoys me. I haven't figured out why yet, though. I'm not gonna lie, me too. Because at first I thought I thought it was like, oh, okay, bi people of color, like bisexual people of color, and then I saw someone type it out, and it was like black and indigenous or brown and indigenous person of color, and I was like, okay. I mean, I guess. You won't see me using it most likely. But yeah. When we're talking about action, it's always cute to have to put everyone else's little struggles on not little struggles, to put everyone else's concerns on the backs of Black women. So yeah, do you all agree with the idea that the Black woman's fight for justice and equality must include everyone? Sound off, because right now I think I'm seeing more I don't want to say unity, but yeah, I'll just say unity than I've seen before, like in my lifetime. There's more of a, am I lying? I don't know. I feel like conversations are kind of changing, and there's definitely more of a push. Like, a lot of Black women are not folding. We are not just going for anything. Like, okay, yeah, we'll fight for George Floyd and just wait for Breonna. Like, there are people who are like, nah, Breonna Taylor, period. The more we talk about terms, the more I see why Collins doesn't get into that, but the why, yeah, redundant. Okay. And then last question of this section: what does Fannie Lou Hamer's quotation, quote, "Ain't no such thing as I can hate anybody and hope to see God's face," mean in the context of the previous 2 chapters? Woo-hoo. Ain't no such thing as I can hate anybody and hope to see God's face. Wow. I'll read the entire section that quote came from in the book. So it's on page 43, and it says, "The words and actions of these diverse Black women intellectuals may address markedly different audiences, yet in their commitment to Black women's empowerment within a context of social justice, they advance the strikingly similar theme of the oneness of all human life. Perhaps the most succinct version of the humanist vision in the U.S. Black feminist thought is offered by Fannie Lou Hamer, the daughter of sharecroppers and a Mississippi civil rights activist. While sitting on her porch, Miss Hamer observed, ain't no such thing as I can hate anybody and hope to see God's face." What, like, this, like, humanist approach to things is just, you know, Collins also, there was another section about, another, like, paragraph in this chapter where she was talking about, like, the humanist orientation. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Oh, okay, yeah, it's on the page before. She wrote, "This humanist orientation within U.S. Black feminism also resembles similar stances taken with the Black diasporic feminisms." Amada, a former minister of education. There was a point that was made. Am I anti-humanist? No, I'm not. Like, I don't know. I hate to be the group pessimist, but I think the open conversation is happening because 1, everyone from Nike to small nonprofits are capitalizing on race equity, and 2, because it's sort of a virtue signaling. And don't worry, I'm constantly wondering if I'm virtue signaling, but it's almost like your words on social media is questionable if you aren't getting into a fight about something. So it seems like a sudden boom, but I don't know. I might just be an old grunt. You're not an old grunt. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know how I feel, or I think I do know how I feel about this, like, humanist take on this. I don't like it. I don't think I like it. Like, of course it seems nice, you know, it seems kind. I like, you know, you want to be kind, I suppose, but in the end, anti-Black, anti-female, and all forms of discrimination are equivalent to the same thing: anti-humanism. We must reject not only the stereotypes that others have of us, but also those we have of others and of ourselves and others. Okay, I guess that's from former Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm. So I'm gonna run through the takeaways from this section. Quote, "Whether we advocate working through autonomous Black women's organizations, becoming part of women's organizations, running for political office, or supporting Black community institutions, African American women intellectuals repeatedly identify political actions such as these as a means for human empowerment rather than ends in and of themselves." End quote. "Without a commitment to human solidarity and social justice, any political movement, whether Black nationalists, feminists, or anti-elitists, may be doomed to ultimate failure." Yeah. I just, like, I don't disagree, but I'm just kind of like, what do we as Black feminists lose or why are we the ones who gotta facilitate this humanist things? I think humanism is a nice way to garner buy-in instead of asking people to recognize the negative. You're saying focus on the positive. Let's all unite, and this allows people to comfortably join community. More flies with honey than vinegar. Yeah, nothing like that. I don't like. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Like, I need you to sign up because you know what's up. I don't need you doing it because you think that no. Is that the article? That'd be great. We got a few more minutes. I don't want to wrap up too soon. I think that I just don't. Humanism seems very reductive, I think, for Black women. I might be wrong. Someone call me out. Call me in. Let me know. Am I missing the point? Because I read it and it sounds good, but like I'm going over now and my mind is just kind of like, not sure how to feel about that. But again, I think these are some good questions that we could drop in that Google form to be asked during. While I'm at it, let me get the correct information on the time for Dr. Collins checked. The live discussion, the author chat. You call it a live Q&A. It's just an author chat. It's not like, it's not like a speed round of questions. I think humanism is just more old school, and it reminds me of nonviolence as a tactic for buy-in in civil rights. It served a purpose then. I don't think it serves anymore. Okay. So yeah, again, y'all, both of the syllabi for Black Feminist Thought are on sale. If you haven't already gotten them, they are $4.99 each. That's chapter 11 and 12 and chapters 1 and 2, which will run now. And then if you go to the event in the Facebook group, you go to the event of Dr. Collins' author chat, then you will see the link where you can submit your questions. It just helps to keep the discussion organized and flowing. And the author chat is at 7:30 on Wednesday, July 22nd. People were more religious then. Interesting. Okay. Feminism can't easily be called. And I think that's how it's registering in my mind as a I don't see color. Like, that's just how it sounds to me. I think that's why I don't like it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to talk about that in this Dr. Collins. Miss Walker. Okay, so that is our time for tonight, friends. I have, once again, as always, you are great. I really love talking to y'all and discussing these texts, and I hope that everyone will go to the Facebook event for Dr. Collins' author chat and hit attending so that you get notifications on it, and you will be there when it happens, because I'll be there because I have some questions for her. But yeah, thanks for joining tonight, and I don't know what else to do again. I think someone was able to link the article. I'll double check, and if not, I'll see if I can. But yeah, other than that, that's all I got. So good night. Have a great evening, and thanks for taking this time out of your evening to come and chit chat with me. And I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Thank you.